How's it going, people? Welcome back to my channel. Another Q&A for you today, but if you haven't already, go into the link in the description below and follow One Football. Download the app. It's a pretty good app, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm getting my head around it now. Following Arsenal, of course, following Turkey and the Republic of Ireland, of course. And a lot of people are upset by the international break, but if you open the app and you see Turkey's latest result, you see where Ireland are in the group, then you know why I'm smiling right now. Do you get me? It's been a positive international break for me. But again, if you haven't downloaded the One Football app using the link in the description below, they've started sponsoring, man. So let's see how it goes with them. Moving on, it's a Q&A again, like I just said. It's the second half of the Q&A I brought out a couple of days ago. There were so many questions. It was a 25-minute video. I thought, let me just split it in half and bring you the other half today. So thank you for all the questions, first and foremost. Appreciate it. I'll start doing these Q&As a bit more, considering the feedback and all the love it's getting so far. So throughout the season, I'll do a few more of these, maybe 2 a month or something like that. You let me know in the comments how often you want me to do something like this, and I'll get it cracking. But let's get into the questions. Tope Lowell says, if Emery is sacked, would you take Mourinho? No, definitely not. Definitely not. It didn't even require Mourinho. To me, as much as I disliked Wenger towards the end of his career at Arsenal, some of the things Mourinho said about him, some of the way Mourinho talked about Arsenal Football Club in general, it was complete and utter disrespect, you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, I would never take Mourinho at Arsenal Football Club. It's hard, because even if you said to me, Mourinho coming would win us the league, yeah. Now that's an interesting proposition, but you can't guarantee that. And in my opinion, Mourinho's brand of football is dead now. He's been found out. He had his little moment for a few years across Chelsea, Inter. Real to me didn't work out, and that was the beginning of the end for Mourinho. And now he might as well just stick to punditry, in my opinion. Sit next to Wenger and talk about football on the TV. Moving on to Beast Titan, because this question's similar to the last question. Would you take Jose or Rafa at Arsenal if you offer them a game plan as to what you want to achieve with the club? Jose, I've just discussed, so we'll leave him out of it. Rafa, I'm not a fan of getting managers in that have managed other Premier League clubs, other big Premier League clubs. And Benitez has been about Liverpool, Chelsea, I know Newcastle ain't big. But for me, I, again, wouldn't take Rafa Benitez. I think football's moved on. I think you need to bring in a manager, a younger manager with a philosophy, someone with a bit more affiliation to the football brand nowadays. Because when you look at Pep and you look at Klopp, they come as a lot more than just a manager, in my opinion. They bring the aura about them. I mentioned it before, and I mentioned it in my last video about Simeone. I think them 3 managers in particular are very, very well, they're top quality. They're top quality, and they bring something about them that no other manager, in my opinion, brings. Hence why I'd like Simeone at Arsenal Football Club. But yeah, I wouldn't take Jose, I wouldn't take Rafa. But thank you for the questions, Tope and Beast. Moving on, it's Mems. What do you think of Ozan Kabak? Or Kabak, sorry. That's the one at Schalke, isn't it? The one that they just bought in the summer of Stuttgart. To be honest, from what I've seen of him, he actually looks pretty good. He looks a good prospect. He hasn't broken into the national team yet, but he's done the under-18s and whatnot. Obviously, Schalke have seen something in him, because he was only at Stuttgart for half a season, and they've activated his release clause. He's got the structure. He's comfortable on the ball. He's got a good passing range, and he's very physical. That's what I've seen of him so far. 19 years of age, but at the moment the Turkish national team is looking pretty good. And when you see defenders like Demiral there, he's only what, 21, Soyuncu only 23. We've got another one at the back, 24 years of age. So it's going to be difficult for him right now to break into the first team Turkish squad, but he looks a very good prospect. And Schalke, they are a good stepping stone. They are a good platform for him to prove himself, especially in the Bundesliga. And it's just good to see more and more Turkish talent go everywhere. Bundesliga, League One, La Liga, Serie A, they're all over the gaff. Soyuncu's at Leicester. It's good to see, because that's what's going to push the Turkish national team forward. And I'm all for that. I'm definitely all for that. It's time to bring Turkey back. But thanks for that question, Mems. Bosson, Akin Rogbe, do you think we should look to the midfield as an area of priority going into January and next summer? And if so, would you like to see it? Who would you like to see us sign? Sorry. Of course, there's no doubt about it. A centre back and a centre mid has to be the priority moving into the next few windows. Someone in my last video asked me the 2 players I'd take in January, and I said Upamecano and Donny van de Beek, or next summer. Someone in the comments actually said, nah, it has to be like a Doucouré or an Ndidi. And you know what? I agree with that. Obviously, I'm opening these questions on the spot and I'm thinking about names first and foremost. But looking back on things, I think Doucouré would be perfect for us. It's just Torreira would be, in my opinion, his best partner. But I'm not sure if Emery's a big fan of Torreira, or if Torreira is even comfortable in England right now. Maybe that's why Emery isn't playing him as much as we'd like at the moment. Maybe it's the beginning of the end for Torreira. Maybe he's already expressed he wants to move back, and Emery, Arsenal has said, look, stick by another year and let's see how it goes. Similar to Ramsey last season, Emery didn't seem to want to implement him too much into the squad early on. In the end, he had to, and it paid dividends. But I could understand why he was trying to build Arsenal Football Club without him in mind. So I'm hopefully Torreira, you know, gets accustomed to life in London. Hopefully he gets settled and comfortable, and we reap the benefits. But for me, you are right, a centre mid is a priority. Doucouré and Didi, I'll take either. For me, Doucouré will be perfect. A great engine, box to box, athletic, power, everything. Everything you need next to Torreira, who can sit back and just tidy up shop in terms of breaking up tactics, breaking up play. And that's exactly what we need. We need a combination again. We haven't had it since that brief period of Cazorla and Coquelin. But it is what it is. It seems like we're fixing holes now at Arsenal. So let's see the next 2 windows. They are very important. They are just as important as the summer window just gone. But thank you for that question, obviously, Boston. Why Not has asked, what do you think of Wenger rejecting a possible role and return at the Arsenal? Well, it's convenient. He's coming out with a book and he's talking about he got offered whatever he got offered. I don't actually believe it. I feel like they probably offered it to him at the end when we was letting him go, saying you can move up, and that's what he's talking about. But how many times has he expressed in the last year or so that he wants to come back to football? He said it straight away last summer, he couldn't get a job. He said it again in November, saying in January he couldn't get a job. End of the season, he said it again, he couldn't get a job. And here he is now bringing out a book talking about Arsenal wanted him back in some way, shape or form, and he didn't want to overshadow Emery's... I don't know what he's talking about, but in my opinion, it's bollocks. And Why Not goes on to ask in another question, can we blame Emery and his tactics and suspect lineups for leaking goals if conceding is down to player error? In the end, no. You can't really blame Emery for individual errors. I look back at the Palace game as a prime example. Yes, the team selection was dubious. Yes, we all thought, what is Jenkinson and El Nene doing on the pitch? But Mustafi let us down. It was 1-1, I think it was, and Mustafi is the one that let us down. Mustafi is the one that played most of the season. So he wasn't a shock to the starting lineup. He was someone we had to play through injury to the back line, through the personnel he had to play, and he was the one that let us down. So it wasn't El Nene Jenkinson. Yeah, maybe if you play a different team, you take the game more to Palace and you come into a position where you're actually ahead comfortably. But we played El Nene Jenkinson, we were still in the game, and Mustafi had a Mustafi moment. Fuck that guy. Move on. But at the end of the day, Emery, when you have... That's one example. But another example is, let's say, Granit Xhaka. In my opinion, he shouldn't be starting for Arsenal Football Club. In my opinion, we've got better alternatives. Like Torreira should be starting more, with Guendouzi possibly, with Willett possibly, Ceballos possibly. But Emery's persisting with Xhaka. Now, if Xhaka keeps on costing us and keeps on fucking about as he has done over the past year, then we do look at Emery. Even though it is a player error, the manager is not realising this player is making so many errors and not taking him out. So it just depends on the situation, if I'm honest. But thank you for the questions again. Why not? Moving on, Jean-René and Shuti, how do you think we should utilise Mustafi for the rest of the season? Like I just said, fuck Mustafi, man. Utilise him by not ever selecting him. Just like with all due respect, just make his life hell, man. Make him want to move in January, want to go. Because I think it's him holding holding it back. I think he wants to stay in London. And that's what's holding it back. Because teams will take him. Teams will take him. But it's just, he's comfortable where he is. And it's down to the previous regime, the fact he's fucking still here. Would pushing him out in January be too much of a risk in terms of squad depth if we don't replace with quality? Nah. There's no risk. Trust me. I'd rather put Medley in or someone else from the youth team and give them a chance ahead of seeing Mustafi again at Arsenal Football Club. Too many chances, too many fuck-ups. And I'm someone that, at the beginning of his career, I said, you know what, it might be Wenger. That's part of the problem. But obviously, moving on, he's done the same shit under Emery, and you can see he's a fucking idiot. Dancing in his pants in the change room. That's all he's good for, some morale. I don't know, make him the clown of the dressing room or something. I don't give a shit, but there's no utilising him in the squad anymore. But thank you for that. That kind of upset me a bit, talking about Mustafi. Joker alarms. Do you think the captain has gone to Xhaka's head and the manager's comments about him being undroppable? To be honest, I haven't heard Emery saying he's undroppable. But if he said that, that's a bit mad. Giving him an ego boost to not be worried about his position. Could this be part of Emery's detriment to not get in top 4? If he said that, it's all mad. It's definitely all mad. But I don't think the captaincy's gone to Xhaka's head. I think Xhaka is shit before and after captaincy. But I think maybe he's a bit more bossy now, especially considering after his fuck up against Tottenham, he's going on to say, oh, what about the chances missed? Like, shut up and take ownership, bub. You're the fucking captain now. You should be taking ownership of what you've done. Most penalties conceded in the Premier League since you signed for the club. Moron. It's a fucking moron. And to be honest, if Emery continues to play him throughout the season, if he continues to fuck up and we don't get top 4, Emery needs to be sacked. And you know me, I haven't even said anything like that thus far. I'm all for giving Emery this chance this season, but if he takes this chance this season and fucks up by playing Xhaka every game and us not reaching our goals, even if we get top 4 and it's by the skin of our teeth and a lot of it is down to Xhaka and he persists in him, then I'm going to question Emery again, even though we make Champions League, because moving forward, is this the sort of person you want leading Arsenal Football Club? Because it's certainly not who I want. So yeah, it could be, potentially, but thank you for the question. Damian Knight, what do you think of the new signing so far? New signing so far, Martinelli, he looks lively. He hasn't been given too much of a chance aside from the first game, but he looks lively. We're going to see more of him now that Iwobi and Mkhitaryan's gone, and I'm all for it. I'm tired of Mickey as well. He's come out and said he wasn't happy in England anymore, and we wasn't happy with him, so thank you very much, good night. But Martinelli looks a good young prospect. I want to see more of him, but obviously at such a tender age, it's kind of hard to really throw him into the first squad like that in the Premier League. It's not the league for that. Nicolas Pepe will be the player of the season for Arsenal. He is our best player. I've got no doubts about it, and it's only a matter of time before he starts setting this league alight, in my opinion. So very happy with him there. Who else did we get? Ceballos, obviously, he looks very good. I don't want to wax lyrical about him too much because he might not be our player at the end of the day, and that will just be a big letdown. But he looks a great little addition in the middle. Very technical, very both-sided, very mobile compared to that fucking wardrobe, Granit Xhaka, yeah. Ceballos looks like a fairy on the pitch, do you know what I mean? Reminiscent of some of the Cazorla moments we had. I think he's a mix of a Cazorla and Arteta, maybe. He seemed like a little mix of both. So another good signing there. David Luiz, an upgrade on Koscielny. Yes, he's had his moments this season, but I do believe we've made an upgrade, and it's not for the long term. I think he's a good addition. I think he's a wise head. Yes, he doesn't show it at times, but I think his leadership and his confidence and his ability on the ball, yeah, really brings something to the backline, really brings something to Arsenal Football Club. So as much as his errors have shone so far, he has brought things to the squad, and I believe over the long term, over the general outview of the season come May, we will look at Luiz as a good signing. So in my opinion, this summer we did do good business. Kieran Tierney, can't say much about him yet, and Saliba has been injured for Saint Etienne, and I haven't been able to watch him yet, but soon come. But thank you for that question, Damien. Beast Titan again, do you fancy the new club structure at Arsenal? Yes, I do. It's about time, and I like Raul. I do like him a lot. I've said it before. His Barcelona CV speaks for itself. I think since he's left Barcelona, their recruitment and their quality, bringing in the young talent and the style of play has kind of gone downhill. Yes, Barca are still a massive talent. Yes, they still are amazing players, but I don't believe they are at the level they was at when Raul was there. You can argue when Guardiola was there. You can argue it's Messi in his prime, but at the moment, Raul's doing a good job. Edu's come in, invincible, legend, Arsenal legend. Happy with that. It looks like he had a part to play in the Martinelli transfer. Happy with that. Luis, possibly that Brazilian connection there. Happy with that. So Edu, so far, so good. Vinay, again, I'm going to keep on saying it. He's just a company man. And he's just a businessman. That's all it is. So for me, Raul and Edu look very good together, especially behind the scenes, behind Emery or behind the manager-to-be. Vinay, so far so good in terms of business, because we done good business in the summer. We didn't spend as much as we could, and we didn't spend as much as I wanted and hoped, but we done good business, and we done it well in terms of fees, structure, getting players off the books. The whole thing worked well, so we could say Vinay is down to a bit of that too. So as much as he's a company man, so far so good for all three, for the whole structure. And Josh Kroenke coming out a couple of times in the past couple months to speak of Arsenal is pretty refreshing. So far so good. So far so good. Hala Madrid, better commentator, Martin Tyler or Peter Drury? To be honest with you, I don't give a shit about commentators, you know. Sometimes I watch fucking Arabic commentators. I really don't give a shit. Like, some of them talk a hell of a lot of shit, you know, so I can't even answer that question for you. Like, I don't really pay too much mind to the commentators. Even off the top of my head, I can't tell you. I know Martin Tyler, Peter Drew, but I can't tell you who commentates what. Champions League, Europa League, Premier League, I don't know. I don't know. So for me, I can't say. For me, I don't really listen to many commentators or pundits or all of that. I just watch the football, love the football, and that's it. But thank you for the question. Beast Titan, again, if you could bench Xhaka, who would you rely on all season? I don't care. I think between Guendouzi, Torreira, Ceballos and Willock, we've got enough there to say we don't really need Xhaka in the middle. I'm sorry. You might say, oh, but he brings some breaking. No, he brings nothing. He brings nothing. I'm tired of Xhaka. He brings fucking nothing. Even his breaking up of players is bullshit. Like Ndidi, Kante, Torreira, these men break up plays. Xhaka is fucked. Like, go check that the recent stat, like the dribble pass the most since last season, giving away the most fouls since last season, giving away the most penalties. But the guy's a fucking liability, man. So I'd rely on anyone. In my opinion, I think Torreira and... Right now, Guendouzi's on form, so Torreira and Guendouzi would be an ideal partnership for me right now, with Ceballos ahead or Willock ahead, and you rotate like that. You know what I mean? Xhaka, I wouldn't even play him in the small games. I wouldn't even play him in the small games. Obviously, in the league, there's hardly any small games, but I'm tired of him, man. But thanks for all them questions, Beast Titan. Appreciate that. And Dave Chambo, the last question I have here. What do you think of Emre Can for DM? He's not happy at Juventus, a proper shield in front of the back four. I liked Emre Can. Do you know what I mean? I liked Emre Can, but I think he hasn't developed as good as I had hoped. Obviously, with Juventus bringing in Ramsey, bringing in Rabiot this season, their competition for the starting spot is rife. So Emre Can's not been selected for the Champions League squad. He's come out and said they told him he would have been, and that's part of the reason he stayed. And if it is, then I understand why he's unhappy. But for me, if we are going to go for a centre mid or someone there, I think Torreira can do the back four protecting them job, and I think Doucouré would be the best partner for him. If I could think of anyone right now, Doucouré. You could say Ndidi, but I just think Ndidi and Torreira, maybe there's not enough physicality there. Yes, they're physical, but they're not big structure-wise, so they could become unstuck against bigger, more mobile centre mids. But Doucouré for me would be the one. Would I take Emre Can? Another Turk that picked Germany. Would I take Emre Can? Nah, man, I wouldn't take him, man. I wouldn't take him. I'll be honest, I wouldn't take him. There's better options out there, and there's no point in taking Juventus reject now, even though Liverpool were happy with him. It's just, I like that he's ambitious and wants to play in the biggest things, but at the end of the day, you haven't done enough last season to warrant that spot, I guess. So it is what it is. Obviously, Sarri might not like him, but for me, there's better options out there. But listen, people, appreciate all the questions that you lot have fired in. Like I said, let me know if you want me to do more of this.